Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. We're at the Republican National Convention in Cleveland, and we're going to switch gears a little bit. We've been talking to politicians for the most part. Now we're going to talk to, well, you said you were a political strategist, Dale Florio, but everything I read about you says you're the #1 lobbyist in the state. I didn't even know they had a state ranking.
Well, it's some people say that. I'm just always happy to be mentioned, along with our firm. The firm's done quite well over the years.
And the firm is a lobbying firm.
The Princeton Public Affairs Group is a lobbying firm. Every year we have to file publicly our earnings, and so we've been at the top of the list for over 10 years now. So I think that's where people come up with this notion that we're the #1 firm, but that's okay. I don't mind that.
Lobbyists get a bad rep. Every time they're brought up, people talk about throwing them out, getting them out, not dealing with lobbyists anymore. Is that fair?
I don't think it is fair. I mean, I think that lobbyists provide a tremendous service. You talk to any elected official, if they're being honest about it, that's where the information comes from. Like anything else, there's always somebody that gets caught up in some scandal, and it gives the whole profession a bad name.
Another knock against lobbyists is that there's this feeling that they write the bills, and that an elected official shouldn't be writing the bills. Is that true or false?
Sometimes lobbyists will provide language, but at least in New Jersey, it has to go through this process that's through the nonpartisan Office of Legislative Services. So we may come up with the ideas, the clients may come up with the ideas, but at the end of the day, they become the sponsors, the legislators' ideas. And it's clearly a misnomer to suggest that somebody is forcing somebody to do something.
You're a delegate, and you're on the Credentials Committee. Is it unusual to have a lobbyist as a delegate?
If you're in political affairs, lobbyists like I am and many others of us are, you're involved in more than just one way. So, usually you come from a Republican or Democratic background. I happen to be a Republican. I'm a proud Republican. I served as the Republican Party chairman in Somerset County for 18 years. And actually, this is my first time as a delegate. I've been to probably the last 5 conventions, but this is my first time as a delegate, and I'm looking forward to it.
Are you a Trump delegate?
I am a Trump delegate.
Have you been with Trump from the beginning, or did you find your way to Trump? Did he come around to you?
I've been a supporter of Chris Christie since the day he decided to run for office in his first term. So the governor asked that we support Donald Trump, and that's why I'm here.
So he wasn't your first choice. Did you disagree
Chris
with him?
Christie was my first
I get it. Where was Trump on the list of the 17?
I think like a lot of other people, just thought that he would fizzle out at the end. I mean, nobody expected him. I'm not going to say that I predicted it. Absolutely not. The conventional wisdom was he was not going to be the nominee. But one by one, he knocked him off, and he's going to be our nominee.
You're comfortable with him now?
I'm very comfortable with him. I mean, this election is going to be about yesterday and tomorrow. Elections are about hope, and Donald Trump is offering hope to people. I know that people complain he hasn't given much in the way of specifics, but he is offering hope. I think the Democratic Party, led by Hillary Clinton, is offering yesterday the same old stuff.
You have just by career, you have an interesting experience in that you have a foot in the business world and you have a foot in politics. And so you know both worlds. He's running as a businessman, as somebody that's successful in business. Recently, there have been people taking shots at that. Of course, the other side has to do that to try to go at his strength. What do business people say about him?
They admire his success. He's had some of his ups and downs in business, but if you're playing at that level, you have ups and downs. But I don't think anybody would say that he has not been successful overall. So I think, and there's 2 types of businessmen. There are people that run major corporations and are selected by shareholders and executive teams, and they're entrepreneurs. I mean, he's an entrepreneur to the max. I mean, he's an entrepreneur on steroids. And I think even if you're a corporate CEO, you have to admire somebody who's an entrepreneur that has made billions of dollars.
The Democrats are going to make a lot about the bankruptcies in Atlantic City. What do you think of them? Is that a flaw? Is that a black mark on his record?
It's the American capitalist system. He hasn't done anything that wasn't permitted by law or by IRS or SEC regulations. So there'll be a lot of scrutiny, but that's the American system. And I almost like the fact that they're talking about Donald Trump and not Hillary Clinton, because this election, I believe, is really about him. If he can show that he's an acceptable candidate to the masses, he will win. And I think the media is going to continue to talk about him throughout this cycle, and that's good. They're not talking about her. It's going to be about him, so it's really his tool.
Although she has a lot of negatives, you don't want them talking about her and the problems she's had?
Those negatives are pretty deep-seated. They're not going to change. There's nothing she can do, so all she can do is hope that people like him less. So again, this is going to be about him. They're going to spend a lot of money, and the media is going to, clearly continue to talk about him, and I think that's good.
I've done this entire interview talking about Trump, talking about business, talking about lobbyists, and I didn't ask you the question that I'm sure everybody out there is asking themselves right now. They hear the name Florio, and they want to know if you're related.
I am not. The governor is his family came from from Europe through the Bronx. Mine came from Italy, South America to South Philly.
But when people must assume sometimes that you're related, does that help you at all?
Well, they now know. I mean, when Jim Florio was governor, people wondered. People thought I was his brother, son, and I shouldn't say I took advantage of it, but I didn't dissuade people of the notion that I might be related.
Well, that's a good businessman. Thank you so much.
Larry, thank you.
I appreciate you sitting down to talk. Dale Florio, political strategist, delegate, and the #1 lobbyist in the state of New Jersey. When we come back, interestingly enough, we're going to talk to a Democrat, one of the few Democrats here. He's also a stand-up comic when Jersey Matters continues.